My name is Irma Wani Othman from Universiti Malaysia Sabah. The title of my presentation today is the sustainability of the infrastructure system at Universiti Malaysia Sabah in generating a conducive learning environment. Ideally, the provision of a university infrastructure includes three components. Firstly, learning and teaching infrastructure. Secondly, information technology infrastructure. And thirdly, research infrastructure. This study has two main objectives, namely, the first one is to explore the views of international students on the sustainability of the infrastructure system in Universiti Malaysia Sabah, and the second one is to evaluate the views of students on the responsibility of Universiti Malaysia Sabah in providing a conducive learning environment. A qualitative approach using in-depth interview techniques was selected based on the background of an exploratory study. A total of 13 international students studying at Universiti Malaysia Sabah were interviewed online to obtain empirical data. The discussion of this paper utilizes a selection of narratives from study respondents that focuses on three dominant themes, namely, first, views of international students on the sustainability of Universiti Malaysia Sabah infrastructure and physical environment. Second, views of international students on psychosocial environment towards generating a conducive teaching and learning environment in Universiti Malaysia Sabah. And lastly, the views of international students on the efficiency of the service system of the Universiti Malaysia Sabah International Student Affairs Unit. Malaysia Education Development Plan 2015 until 2025 targets the mobility of 250,000 international students to further their studies in this country by year 2025. This goal can be achieved through the expansion of study program offerings and the rebranding of public universities and private universities Malaysia. Based on the government's commitment to focus on the visibility of Malaysian higher education institutions on the international stage, the Economic Transformation Program has been introduced. The projection of the education sector is upgraded as one of the key economic areas of the country. This continuity is evidenced when the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia increased its efforts to fund various teaching and learning programs as stipulated in the Malaysian Education Development Plan 2015 until 2025. Malaysia is a proactive country that always strives to intensify the policy of internationalization of higher education and emphasize the comfort of international students. Aspects of university infrastructure facilities, whether physical infrastructure or psychosocial infrastructure, become the main responsibility and agenda of the university management. The action ensures that students are in conducive learning environment. In addition, educators have the capacity to impart knowledge effectively in a good environment. Supporting this aspiration, the coordination of procedures of the National Accreditation Board stipulates that every university must have a lecture hall of appropriate size and equipped with the latest equipment to meet the needs of learning. As for technical study programs, complete laboratories, workshops, and studios must be provided for the purpose of the teaching and learning process runs smoothly. Ultimately, with a conducive environment, students can concentrate in lectures, engage in learning activities and gain a good experience while in the host country. Recognizing the potential of Universiti Malaysia Sabah as an educational institution of international standard, there are several initiatives that have been carried out by Universiti Malaysia Sabah to make Universiti Malaysia Sabah as the focus of international students. Universiti Malaysia Sabah has received the lowest number of international student admissions in 2020 due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic that hit the world. The recruitment of post-COVID international students is an effort to improve the ranking of universities as well as to continue the effort of public universities towards internationalization policy. It also aims to strengthen diplomatic relations between Malaysia and foreign countries so that the country's economic relations are always guaranteed. There are issues that will be faced by a university when recruiting post-COVID international students in Malaysia, such as the issue to ensure that all international students follow and comply with the standard operation procedure, the issue to recruit international students from countries with less active cases, and security issues to the entire university community if there is a new cluster. Furthermore, the selection of international students from countries with less risk of active COVID cases is also a challenge after making the recruitment of post-COVID international students. This is said to be so because recruitment from countries with high active cases will increase the percentage for our country to be hit by this pandemic problem again, as well as endangering all Malaysians. A total of 13 Universiti Malaysia Sabah international students were voluntarily invited to participate in the interview. The selection of respondents was done randomly based on purposive sampling technique. The criteria of the study respondents are based on, firstly, full-time student status at Universiti Malaysia Sabah, secondly, not involved in any university exchange program, and, thirdly, not receiving any scholarship or any form of study sponsorship from the organization during study abroad. After the implementation of online interviews, further data analysis was done on 13 voice recordings. This involves the process of inductive analysis, that is, changing the voice recording to text form. Finally, the process of transcribing and identifying the findings of the study findings applies through the categorization of themes using coding methods. Literature review is presented through two approaches. First, the author begins with the description by referring to the findings of scholars on physical infrastructure, psychosocial environment, and the relationship with conducive learning. This was done through a synthesis of the literature. The second approach is to apply the synthesis of the literature review through a discussion of the findings of the themes that emerges from the findings. The discussion was supported by empirical data as well as a selection of interview narratives with international students. Based on that, the author studies shows the gaps in the literature review, especially those that refer to discussions on learning and teaching infrastructure, information technology infrastructure, and research infrastructure at the tertiary institution level. The elements of the infrastructure are more towards the infrastructure of the physical environment, including lecture rooms, lecture halls, laboratories, workshops, libraries, cafeterias, international offices, sports, and others. However, complete and sophisticated campus facilities and services are not able to fully support the sustainability of an environment for conducive learning without involving aspects of the psychosocial environment, where it is considered an important criterion that attracts students and influences or determines their comfort of an institution. Students are given exposure through individual learning because each person tends to respond uniquely through conducive environments such as needs, partnerships, and hospitality. The discussion of this paper presents the findings of the study on the perceptions of international students related to the sustainability of infrastructure in Universiti Malaysia Sabah and the provision of a conducive learning environment in Universiti Malaysia Sabah. There are three dominant themes classified as 1. Perceptions of international students related to sustainability of Universiti Malaysia Sabah infrastructure, 2. Perceptions of international students related to the physical environment of learning and teaching of Universiti Malaysia Sabah, and 3. Perceptions of the psychosocial environment in Universiti Malaysia Sabah. Current trends see universities competing to remain relevant by offering a range of comprehensive, high-quality study program packages that meet the needs of the job market. International students' perceptions of the Student Affairs Office support system at Universiti Malaysia Sabah refers to the satisfaction of international students in terms of the services of the staff of the Office of International Student Affairs, especially in terms of hospitality and services, willingness of support staff to provide aid to students, the time taken to serve students, documentation, and overall services offered at the university. The main function of the Office of International Affairs is to regulate the relationship between students and the university, especially in ensuring the welfare for studying at the university and living in the host country is protected, whereby international students are in a fragile emotional state and vulnerable to cultural shock in a new environment that is completely foreign to them. Quality and efficient service treatment can be considered as one of the determinants to the level of satisfaction of international students throughout their studies abroad. Referring to case study, there are a total of 13 international students involved in this study feel that the image of an international and prestigious university is a major attraction for international students, and they expect the image portrayed able to provide better career opportunities in working world. Expectations regarding the image of the university were formed based on information obtained about the university, courses, academic staff, and making comparisons of positions with other universities. In fact, some universities are seen to have strategically built infrastructure development plans to impact their image and prestige through a comprehensive and modern infrastructure system. Most of the prospective students rely on current information regarding the sustainability of a university's reputation in providing a conducive place of learning, thus agree that they had received information that coincided with the actual situation regarding teaching and learning infrastructure, information technology infrastructure and research infrastructure. In the context of this study, respondents refer to the physical environment as aspects of arrangement, physical design, source of learning materials, lighting, ventilation, and hygiene that affect the effectiveness of learning and teaching throughout their studies at the university. Most of the respondents interviewed classified the University Malaysia Sabah infrastructure facilities as being in good and satisfactory condition. A conducive learning environment is a situation that has the ability to stimulate students' interest and enthusiasm to engage, participate, and focus on the learning process. Thus, the psychosocial environment underlies aspects of psychology and social relationships that have continuity with the effectiveness of teaching and learning methods of teaching staff. The discussion highlighted by the respondents focus on the interaction between fellow students, students with academic staff and students with an environment characterized by cheerfulness, friendliness, trust, humanity, safety, and health. In the context of this qualitative research, the psychosocial environment has been proven to be able to generate a close relationship between students and the learning environment and in turn have a positive impact on the development and self-confidence of the students. A total of 13 international students interviewed have given their feedback on the psychosocial environment of public universities in the country. Among those that received attention was the suggestion made by International Student 2, which stated that each student has their own way of responding uniquely to their environment. A calm environment contributes to the effectiveness of learning. This paper positions University Malaysia Sabah as a higher education system that has the aspiration to develop the infrastructure of their respective organizations. However, constrained by various environmental factors that refer to changes in globalization and the demands of stakeholders, the planned university development goals face various challenges. The results of this research show that the desire of international students to choose to study abroad is now seen as a positive development that can benefit the destination country and the institution of higher learning itself. If viewed in terms of university services, the tendency of students to choose study destinations abroad is due to several factors such as the facilities and infrastructure provided. This is important not only to ensure the comfort of international students in pursuing knowledge but in order to achieve their level of satisfaction throughout their studies in the host country. Facilities and infrastructure provided by the university must be constantly upgraded to ensure the quality of facilities and infrastructure offered to students are in the best condition. Another thing that should be taken seriously by the university is the challenge towards internationalization is the effort to increase the enrollment capacity of international students through the sustainability of infrastructure. This is said to be a challenge because Universiti Malaysia Sabah need to act smarter to attract more international students by providing promotions such as scholarships, hostel, and health facilities so that many international students will study at this university as well as succeed in internationalization and make Universiti Malaysia Sabah a hub of international academic excellence. Apart from that, Universiti Malaysia Sabah also practice the use of foreign languages in the teaching and learning process to attract international students to follow undergraduate courses because it can make it easier for the students to understand the lessons taught. This can be evidenced by the involvement of more than 100 countries to make English a second language in their national communication system, and certainly the mastery of English makes Universiti Malaysia Sabah the choice of international students. The involvement of international students to Universiti Malaysia Sabah will certainly bring a global learning culture that can be followed by local students as well as produce quality graduates as an effort to increase the enrollment capacity of international students to public universities remain the biggest challenge of Universiti Malaysia Sabah, especially in the post-COVID millennium. The challenge towards materializing the internationalization policy of a public university is the university's management's efforts towards the internationalization policy. There are heterogeneous efforts that have been taken by Universiti Malaysia Sabah in overcoming this challenge. Among them are international student exchange programs, international cooperation, and international research collaboration. The Student Exchange Program is a proactive step taken by the management of Universiti Malaysia Sabah because it not only benefits local students, but it is also able to stimulate the development of the university. This is said so because when exchange students return to Universiti Malaysia Sabah, they will definitely share the knowledge and culture. The knowledge they gained in foreign countries become ideas in an effort to improve the weaknesses of Universiti Malaysia Sabah management towards world class, especially in the future. This program is also able to build students' confidence to be more competitive in order to meet global needs and wants. International collaborations and international research collaborations are also able to increase the prestige of Universiti Malaysia Sabah in the eyes of the world with the production of new and quality products and studies that are beneficial to the world. Ultimately, the management of Universiti Malaysia Sabah must play a role in facing the challenges of the internationalization policy of public universities in this pandemic millennium. Thank you.